So an individual's intentions to perform a behavior increase, and they are more likely actually to perform it. So the word reasoned comes from that an individual feels convicted that if I did this particular action, then this is the benefit that I may drive out of it. So it is reasoned because an individual is feeling the desire or have an intention that is directly. So the individual's attitudes and the subjective norms affect the individual's intention. So then, if the intentions are affected, then it directly affects the individual's behavior. So what happens is that if someone's attitudes towards wearing a particular mask or wearing a face mask negative, that for me I cannot wear a face mask, then the community also or their peers therefore say that we also do not, COVID is not real, and therefore we do not need to wear masks. Then the intention will be that for us we are not wearing masks. So the individual is being influenced by his own attitude, but also by the subjective norms of the society or the peer groups. And the intention is that they do not wear masks. And then that transfers into their behavior. But also this happens in if you wanted to determine the use of contraceptive or condoms in a particular community, you would be able to understand what the subjective norms are. Now, these subjective norms may be from peer groups and the society. Maybe the society has a myth that use of condoms does not make the intercourse an interesting bit of it. And then also the individual may have their attitudes towards the use of condoms, and then the intention happens in that the person then says, "For me, I am not using," or the person intends that this is not nice. So therefore, it influences the behavior. So that is what the theory of reasoned action talks about. So what are the advantages of that theory? It is a useful tool in predicting and understanding health behaviors, and it has been applied uh, to various behaviors such as physical activity, healthy eating, and condom use. So one thing you need to understand here is that the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned action are relatively similar theories in there. The only difference you can see for reasoned theory is that it does not have the perceived behavioral control. If you're to see that figure that is there. So these are theories that are virtually similar in action, but the reason theory takes away the aspects of behavioral control away from the individual because it believes that the individual is actually being ruled on their intention, and that the subjective norms greatly influence the individual, but also his own attitude then are the most important factors in deciding the type of behavior or either to adopt a negative or positive behavior. So when we are discussing advantages here, we are briefly discussing both advantages of the planned behavior, but also we are discussing advantages here of the reasoned action theory. And that TPB you're seeing there is just a brief abbreviation of the planned behavior theory that we discussed here, theory of planned behavior. So the TPB is a useful tool in predicting and understanding health behaviors, and has been applied to various behaviors such as the physical activity, healthy eating, and condom use. So TPP may not account for social and environmental factors that may influence behavior or emotions or other non-rational factors that may influence behavior. So if you are to realize the three theories that we have been discussing, you may be able to realize that most of their criticism is that they do not cater for social and environmental factors. Now, the theory for it is majorly looking directly at the individual being the decision maker. It is looking, the psychological aspect that the theory is looking at is the fact that this decision making is occurring in the person's mind. It may not be manifest. It may not be manifest in an individual's actions, or maybe the person may not be doing it as you're seeing physically, but the discussion is being done in an individual's brain, meaning his attitude, his thoughts, and what the peers say to him are the ones influencing. That is why there is this critique over the social and environmental factors. Then the application is that it has been applied to various health behaviors such as smoking cessation, alcohol use, and physical activity. So just whereas it has been applied in these health behaviors, but in a field, in a particular field that you are in, you can still use this theory to understand people's behavior towards adopting new health related components. For example, for some people, they do not believe that use of modern medicine can help heal the body. So you would need to understand what are this person's attitudes towards malaria treatment. For example, we have had in Uganda there was an activity of widespread of these mosquitoes using Fludora fusion, indoor residual spraying, and there were a lot of rejects from the community. Why? Because the community was perceiving that the community said that this is a poisonous chemical, and therefore the government wants to kill them. And when they went to ask individuals whether they can be vaccinated, I mean their houses can be sprayed, many families refused, and it took intervention of health promotion, but also discussing with them the benefits of the indoor residual spraying and how they can reduce the side effects of the indoor residual spraying. So it took a health promotion intervention. How they needed to first understand this community, what is their behavior, what is their attitude, what is the societal thinking on malaria. So when this was successfully done, then a health promotion message was designed, and successfully this implementation was later done. So let us look at the social cognitive theory. This is a widespread theory even for social scientists and those who work in the humanitarian setting, it is one of the widespread theories that is being used. This theory proposes that behavior changes occur through a reciprocal interaction between an individual's factors, environmental factors, and behavior. So it emphasizes the importance of self-efficacy, observational learning, and reinforcement in behavior change. So let me just adjust for you this so that you can be able to view this properly. You see, in that cycle, it is showing you how the reciprocal interaction occurs. When you look at the cognitive factors, which are also called the personal factors, these are now looking at the individual himself or herself. We are looking at what is this person's knowledge, what is their expectation, what are their attitudes. So, what is the woman's knowledge about delivery, about delivering in a health facility? What is their knowledge about the importance of having 4 ANC visits, maximum 8, minimum 8, according to WHO new standards? What is their knowledge? What is the woman's knowledge about maternal breastfeeding? What is the woman's knowledge about taking their children, or what is the man's knowledge about taking their children for vaccination? What is an individual's knowledge on a balanced diet? So then what is the individual's expectation? Do they expect that when they go to the health facility, they deliver faster? Do they expect that when they go to the health facility, they will be treated free of charge? Do they expect that when they go to the health facility, they will find their health workers who are good to them, who are not insulting them? If they went to the health facility, do they expect that their community does not turn up against them? Then what is the attitude? Even if I go to the health center, there is nothing. I am going to waste my money. I will not find someone. My attitude, their attitude towards the health facility delivery is very bad. Their attitude towards is not proper. That is number one, the cognitive factor. So then you look at the person's behavioral factors. What is this person's skill? What is the practice? What are they doing? Are they attending antenatal care? So what is the person's self-efficiency? The ability of the person to make a decision, the ability of the person to go to the antenatal unit, the ability of the person to go and do a HIV test. Then the third influence would be that what are the social norms? How accessible is the service in a community? What is the influence on others? The ability to change own environment. So when all these factors are in play, then they are able to influence an individual's behavior, either a good behavior or a bad behavior. So a social norm that believes that a mother should be able to deliver at a health facility will surely make the community or an individual deliver in a health facility. So in self-efficacy, we are looking at an individual's belief in their ability to perform a specific behavior successfully. High self-efficacy can increase the likelihood of engaging in a healthy behavior. Two, we're looking at the observational learning. Now, this is the process of acquiring new behavior by observing and imitating others, particularly role models. So, in this social cognitive theory, in fact, if you were studying counseling, the counseling theory, it also explains the fact that children learn from a social cognitive way. And that is why in the formative years of a child, it is very important that children are raised in a way that the society believes or the parent believes in. So unfortunately, in this, as children learn by observation, what happens is that if in a society that is illiterate, if children observe that people are not going to school, a society that has a lot of school dropouts, when the children are growing up and they observe that in this society, majority of the children or majority of the people do not attend school, the chances that that child will adopt a similar behavior are very high. And therefore, his intention, his attitude towards school will be very bad. And the chances that he can actually drop out of school are very high. Likewise, a society that is immoral, where children get pregnant at a teenage age, the chances that that particular behavior will persist in that community are higher. The generation that is younger, because of the cognitive aspect of learning, they will be able to learn and observe this particular behavior, and then they will definitely engage in it, and they will start imitating those people, especially their role models. If, for example, in a family that has gender-based violence, the chances that because the children are observing their role models, who are the parents, the chances that the children will also be violent and chaotic are extremely high because of this particular aspect of observational learning. You can do just a brief research in your particular society in there, and you'll realize that this is practically true. So the third is the outcome expectation. So the anticipated consequences of a particular behavior, either a positive outcome can motivate individuals to adopt healthy behaviors, while negative expectations may deter them from doing so. So if they expect that if they got pregnant, they will drop out of school, then the chances that the teenager may not be able to get pregnant are there. But also, likewise, the outcome may be interesting to them because one, they may feel curious that they need to understand what sex is, and therefore they may engage in it. So the level of outcome expectation varies, and these all expectations are what we call demographically determined. The outcome expectations among youth may not be similar to the outcome expectations among very young babies, or among elderly people, or among women of reproductive age. So this may vary differently across our demographic backgrounds. The fourth construct of the social cognitive theory is the reciprocal determinism, meaning the interaction between the individual's attitude, their behavior, and the environment. So this construct emphasizes the mutual influence of these factors on one another. So this the individual's expectation of the outcome, the individual's attitude, the individual's observational process of learning, and their ability to perform a particular behavior work in what we call the reciprocal determinism mode, in that they interact as you're seeing this cycle here. So you're able to see that this other circle crosses into the other one, this other one crosses into the other one, and this other one also crosses into the other one. So you're able to see that kind of interaction that we are calling reciprocal in here. So what are the advantages of the social cognitive theory? The social cognitive theory is a useful tool in understanding and predicting behavior change, and has been applied to various behaviors such as physical activity, healthy eating, and also again the smoking cessation. So you're able to see that these theories can actually cut across in trying to understand the behavior towards uh, a particular health problem. So in physical activity, you can be able to understand from an individual's observation if that is why in certain parts of a country you may realize that the son of a footballer then becomes a footballer and if that is why you may realize in a particular province you may realize it is the one that particularly produces super athletes, or it mainly is the one that produces the footballers. Why? It could be as a result of the behavior or the cognitive learning that you're seeing your father, who is a sports person, and he may be doing physical activities like going for roadworks, hitting the gym, and therefore, because he's your role model, the chances that you will be able to uh, uh, adopt that particular behavior of physical activity are very high. So the criticism is that the social cognitive theory may not account for social and environmental factors that may influence behavior and may not account for emotions or other non-rational factors that may influence behavior. So you realize it cuts across, and whereas the society may influence you in not in direct ways, there are what they call indirect or passive ways through which the society may influence you. Social cognitive theory, because for it looks at you as an individual psychologically, whereas this interplay is happening. For it does not consider your social environment, or it does not consider your environmental factor, whether you're staying in an urban location or you're staying that particular aspect. So their application can be applied in various health behaviors, including condom use, healthy eating, and physical activity. So you will be able to determine an individual's behavior towards condom use, or an individual's behavior towards healthy eating using this social cognitive theory. So then this takes us into the trans theoretical module. And the trans theoretical module, also known as the stages of change module, propose that behavior change occurs in stages. And it proposes that this includes the pre-contemplation, the contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. It also emphasizes the importance of self-efficacy in behavior change. So I should state that I think we are all privy now to the statement of self-efficacy, because the ability to perform a specific or a certain kind of behavior. So in this trans theoretical module, which is short formed as the TTM, you will be able to understand pre-contemplation, meaning that the person is being influenced by certain things. Contemplation in this aspect is looking at how someone is trying to think, to reason, is trying to think about something. So pre-thinking. So the pre-contemplation is looking at pre-thinking, that an individual is unaware of what is happening. He has no intention of changing behavior, or is unaware, or he's in denial, or he doesn't even think about anything. So then it reaches the stage of contemplation, meaning the person realizes a problem, either is not ready to commit to changing. So contemplation happens in that the person starts to think about this problem now. You continuously think about this problem. Then the third stage is preparation, and in preparation, your in preparation, your intention is to change and to take action, small changes and set goal priorities, but have not taken action. So you're seeing at the preparatory stage, the person is now trying to is trying he's trying to set a goal. He's also trying to 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 try and see if there's need for changing. He's trying to intend to change, but of course the action of change does not yet take place. In the English dictionary, the statement or the meaning of contemplation is that it is the action of looking thoughtfully at something for a long time, or it is a deep reflective thought, or the state of being considered or planned. That is in the English dictionary what contemplation means. So, meaning that someone gives it a deep thought at the second stage, then in the third stage, the person is intending to change and to take action. So there are small changes, and the person sets goals. Then the fourth one is the action. So the person commits to change behavior, dedicate considerable time and energy to make changes. The person develops strategies to overcome barriers. And then the fifth one is that maintenance work to prevent relapse and adapt to change. So what happens is that, for example, if we wanted to have to apply this uh, theoretical module into a behavior, the pre-contemplation may possibly we want to look at which behavior, which kind of problem in a society, maybe issues of not going to school. If we were to say not going to school, so the person has no intention of changing their behavior of not going to school, or the person is not aware that not going to school is a problem, that at a certain time it may not be a problem, or he just denies that even if I don't go to school, there is no problem because there are people in our community that have even thrived without going to school. So then, who am I to go to school? So they live in that kind of denial. So the person starts to contemplate in the second stage, starts to realize that my peers are going to school, and I'm not going to school. Maybe that is not right. But then he says, but everyone is on their own. So the person is not ready to change. He's not planning to commit. However, because he had contemplated about it, he starts to have a feeling continuously because he has thought. You remember, contemplation means a deep thought. So he has had a very deep thought. Whereas he tries to live in denial or tries not to be ready to commit, he starts making preparations, uh, trying to intend to change, and starts to take small actions. Maybe starts to ask his friends how school is going, what is good, do they give food, the teacher is good. Those are some of the small actions the person starts to take. Then the person sets a goal and says, maybe, I think by next year I should resume school. So he tries to set that goal, but he's not starting school. Then the action would be that the person now starts to try and commit to change, and the attitude of not going to school may change, and he would considerably give it time and energy in order to go. So he starts to maintain work to prevent relapse, possibly through uh, uh, having friends who are very serious in school or who regularly go. And he sets a target that every time they are going, they should pick him up also. And then the sixth one will be the total termination of that behavior of not going to school. So, what are the constructs of the theoretical module? One, stages of change, the process of behavior change occurring in a series of stages, including pre-contemplation, contemplation, pre-action, preparation, action, maintenance, and termination, as we have discussed above. The second construct is the decisional balance, that the individual weighs the profits or the benefits or the pros and cons of the adopting a specific behavior. So the person does a cost and benefit analysis. If I went to school, what would be the cost? If I don't go, what will be the cost? If I went to school, what will be the benefit? And also, what will be the cost of not going to school? And then the third one is the individual's belief, ability to perform a specific behavior, which we referred to already as a self-efficacy, meaning that person's ability to now decide for themselves that I should actually go to school. Then the fourth is the process of change, the cognitive, emotional, and behavioral strategies that people use to progress through the stages of change. So, cognitive meaning they are observing. So, they try and observe, then emotionally, they try to adopt. And like I said, he starts to say, I think age is not a problem. Age is in school, there is no age. So those are all emotional uh, behavior that they are trying to adopt in the process of change, so that they go successfully throughout that process of change. So, what are the advantages of the TTM? The TTM is a useful tool in understanding and predicting behavior change, and has been applied to various behaviors such as smoking cessation, alcohol use, and physical activity. Uh, the criticism is that it lacks specificity and precision, and it is focused on individuals' behavior rather than the social and environmental factors. So for it favors, it looks at you as an individual. You're the one to make your own definition, your own decision. Whereas influences cognitively may be there, but the entire decision or the entire issue on behavior change lies directly on you. So all those stages that occur, including pre-contemplation, including contemplation, including preparation, action, all these interplays that occur around the individual themselves. So what is the application of this theory? It can be applied, as we said, in various health behaviors also, and including smoking cessation, alcohol use, and physical activity. So I think this is quite a repetition. The social cognitive theory, we had discussed that one, and these are the advantages. So I want to look at a very important theory also here called the diffusion of innovation theory. This is one of the theories that many researchers, but also many projects, proposals should entail, because most times they ask people what is the theory of change. How do you resonate, or what is your thinking or your plan of change in this proposal that you intend to ask for funding from. So the diffusion of theory, or the diffusion of innovation, proposes that adopting an innovation such as a health behavior occurs through a series of stages, including knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. For it, it emphasizes the importance of communication, channels, social networks, and opinion leaders in adopting new behaviors. And the theory of innovation the diffusion of innovation may need to account for the complex and dynamic nature of social networks and the context in which innovations are adopted. It also may need to account for individuals' variations in the adoption process. The application, the diffusion of innovation has been applied to various health behaviors such as innovation, immunization, cancer screening, and HIV testing. So this diffusion of innovation theory, this is what it looks at. That what channel of communication are you using? That is one. What are the social networks in the society? That is two. Now, what are the opinion leaders in adopting new behaviors? So it is looking at the fact that if you chose a particular communication channel, then it would be able to determine what response of idea people would have on that particular innovation. So the diffusion of theory looks at five major. Are you able to see the screen I'm sharing on the diffusion of theory?
No, we are not seeing the screen, sir.
You're not seeing the screen, eh?
I'm seeing, I think maybe our network.
The what?
This side, I'm seeing the screen.
Let me just add something here as we explain the diffusion of innovation theory. Just let me just add for you a brief introduction here. So the diffusion of innovation theory, this theory was developed by Rogers in 1962, and it is one of the oldest social science theories. So it originated in the communication to explain how over time an idea or product gains momentum and it diffuses or spreads through a specific population or social system. So the end result of this diffusion is that people, as part of a social system, adopt a new idea or behavior or product. So adoption means that a person does something that is different than what they had previously. For example, they start to purchase or use a new product. For example, they start to acquire and perform a new behavior. In this aspect, that earlier on the persons were not doing HIV testing. Now they are starting to do HIV testing. So in practical terms, one of the most uh, how they have used the diffusion of theory, I mean the diffusion of innovation theory in the recent past is in innovating what we call the self-test kits, and it is a perfect example of one of the aspect of diffusion of innovation theory. So the key to adoption is that the person must perceive the idea, behavior, or product as a new innovation, and it is through that diffusion. It is through this that the diffusion is possible. The person may not if the person does not perceive the idea, it may become very hard that the person is takes into consideration the idea. So the adoption of a new idea or behavior does not happen simultaneously. So it is a process whereby some people are mere apt to adopt the innovation than others. So there are 5 established adopter categories. In this diffusion of theory, it talks about 5 major categories of individuals when we are discussing this theory of innovation, theory of diffusion of innovation. I just add another slide here so that we can see those particular modules that I am talking about. So what the theory, the diffusion of innovation theory is saying is that whereas the idea may come into the population, the mere fact that this kind of innovation may be adopted by individuals varies, and there are 5 categories into which these particular people are divided into, and an example of this particular theory, when to use this theory, we can talk about the face masks. When the face masks were introduced, a lot of people felt uncomfortable with adopting the face masks. In I think majority of the African society, when the COVID just hit us, it was not easy for people to adopt use of the face masks. So I just decided to add this so that we can be able to understand this theory, the diffusion of innovation more. So, like I said earlier, that the adoption is that the person must first perceive the idea. However, after the person perceives the idea, then the degree of innovation would start to vary. You may find that there are people who do not immediately pick up the idea that you're trying to bring up. For example, there are people who believed that there is yet no need to use a face mask, and therefore they did not easily adopt to using a face mask. So the adoption of a new idea or behavior or product does not happen simultaneously in a social system. Rather, it is a process whereby some people are more apt to adopt the innovation than others. Researchers have found that people who adopt an innovation early have different characteristics than people who adopt an innovation later. When promoting an innovation to target population, it is important to understand the characteristics of the target population that will help or hinder adoption of the innovation. Like I have continuously said, that before you develop an idea, you should first understand the characteristics of this population before you take immunization or vaccination services to a community. You need to understand the characteristics of these people. So, because of the different characteristics of individuals, it may the uptake of the adoption of an innovation or the adoption of a new behavior. For example, in societies, they believe that men cannot just go to the health facility for a mere fever. It is rather women who should go for treatment as early as there's an onset of any fever. But for men, if you went to the health facility because of a fever, people would start laughing at you and they would say that this man is not a man. How can you just go to the health facility because of fever? So these are some of the different characteristics. Back to the example I was giving on the face masks. Uh, the characteristics of people in those communities was that uh, what is what is this face mask? You even get you even get face mask. There are chances that you don't breathe properly. So those are the characteristics that were there of individuals when the innovation of masks was being done. Then there are 5 established adopter categories, and while the majority of the general population tends to fall in the middle categories, it is still necessary to understand the characteristics of the target population when promoting a particular health behavior. There are different strategies used to appeal to the different adopter characteristics. So in here, we should be able to understand the different adopter categories. For example, when the COVID vaccine was introduced, the level of adoption varied. How did it vary? First, were the innovators. These are people who want to be the first to try the innovation. They are venturesome and interested in new ideas. These people are very willing to take risks and are often the first to develop new ideas. Very little, if any, needs to be done to appeal to this population. So the population that has innovators, you will realize that when they are the first people who went and took the vaccination jab. Immediately when they said the jab is up, they went and took it. So in that society, you will always have this type of people. The second group is the early adopters. These are people who represent opinion leaders. They enjoy leadership roles and embrace change opportunities. They are already aware of the need to change and so are very comfortable adopting new ideas. Strategies to appeal to this population, including how to manual and information sheets on implementation. They do not need information to convince them to change. So these early adopters are mostly they are the opinion leaders. They are the ones who will say, this is good. This is already good. It is good to for my population. So if they are the politicians, this is very good for my population, and we shall be able to do it. For example, in trying to offer an ambulance service, it will be very good for my community. And then, so this type of people, the early adopters, you don't need to a lot of information to convince them to change. However, there is a group of what we call the early majority. These people are rarely leaders, but they do adopt new ideas before the average person. That said, they typically need to see evidence that the innovation works before they are willing to adopt it. Strategies to appeal to this population include success stories and evidence of the innovation effectiveness. So these are people you need to go and tell them testimonies that after now people have been injected or they have had their vaccination jabs, they now see that this person has not died. Instead, this person is doing well. Then you bring that person to tell them their success story, and this is where majority of the people fall in adopting new behaviors. So some of you here even may fall under this particular category. So the fourth one is what we call the late majority. These people are skeptical of change and will only adopt an innovation after it has been tried by the majority. Strategies to appeal to this population include information on how many other people have tried the innovation and have adopted it successfully. So to this late majority, you will need to present to them data and show them that 90% of our population has been vaccinated. So it is only you who are 10 who need to be vaccinated. And therefore, you need to uptake this uh, vaccine. This is the category. And the last category is what we call the laggards. These people are bound by tradition and they are very conservative. They are very skeptical of change and are the hardest group to bring on board. Strategies to appeal to this population include statistics, fear appeals, and pressure from people in other adopter groups. So people in other adopter groups should be pressurizing these people. You are not vaccinating, therefore you're risking our lives. If they did this, this pressure can be able to help these individuals so that they are pressurized into adopting those behaviors. And that is why the laggards up to today, majority of them, they may not have taken the COVID vaccine because they are very traditional and very conservative. So you need key statistics, and you also need to do away with their myths, their thoughts. They may be having a lot of myths that uh, that are the ones that are stopping them from uptaking this particular kind of behavior. So let's look at the criticism for this theory. It may need to account for the complex and dynamic nature of social networks and context in which innovations are adopted. It also may need to account for individual variations in the adoption process. The application can be done in the immunization, cancer screening, and HIV testing. But also, you can see in the COVID issue. So the complex and dynamic nature of social networks means that there are people who may listen to particular people. There are also people, for example, youth who may want to listen to their fellow youth. There are women who may want to be talked to by a woman. So you need to look at these complex and dynamic social networks in the context if innovations are to be adopted. And possibly the last theory we want to look at is the socio-ecological module. This module just proposes that the behavior is influenced by multiple levels of influence, including individual factors, interpersonal factors, organizational factors, community factors, and policy factors. It emphasizes the importance of understanding the broader social and environmental context in which behavior occurs. So what happens is that uh, you can see the ecological you can see this kind of interaction from physical activity, active living, it expands to beliefs, in the individual's determinants, the age, social environment, the culture, the social cohesion, the income, the equity in the community, then the build environment, it looks at land use patterns, transport, urban design, then the natural environment, it looks at the water, the air, the weather, and then the topography. These are the ecological module, what it looks at, that these are the things or these are the factors that influence an individual's behavior. And in the individual factors, it is looking at a person's characteristics, the gender, the age, Is he is she female? Uh, what is their knowledge level? What is their belief? What are their attitudes towards health problems? The interpersonal factors. What are their networks? Who influences their health behavior? What is their relationship with the family, friends, peers, co-workers? Then the general community factor looks at the institutions that impact health behavior. They look at the schools. What lessons are taught to students in schools? What kind of behavior is encouraged in these schools at the workplaces? The societal factors we're looking at, what are the social norms, what are the cultural economic policies, what are the laws and regulations governing these people. So the socio-ecological model looks at how all of these interact, including the environmental factors, the physical and the built environment factors, how they can influence health behaviors, such as the green spaces, the walkability and availability of healthy food options. What are the healthy foods around the society? What is the kind of uh, household setting? Are they grass thatched? Are they slum areas? Are they congested? What is the setting of the construction of the housing? Is the ventilation okay? So all these working interaction to affect an individual's behavior. So the advantage is that it provides a comprehensive and holistic approach to understanding health behaviors and the social and the environmental factors that influence them. It can be useful in identifying multiple points of intervention for behavior change. So you'll be able to identify where particularly we can intervene, either in the societal factor, in the individual factor. So then you can target counseling. You can say it is an issue of the community. So then you can work on which policy. For example, that individuals' behaviors are being influenced because of discos or these local music night music areas is the reason for teenage pregnancy, and therefore you can be able to say that communally we need a bylaw that can stop this, or we need a bylaw that has an age limit on the particular kind of substance that you can take. The criticism is that the ecological model may require more work to apply in practice, as it requires consideration of multiple levels of influence and may also require collaboration across multiple sectors. So you may not have to work as an individual if you are to achieve success, because this socio-ecological model is an interaction. So you may need collaboration across education, you may need across politicians, you may need across health, but also across the economy. It may not be a one-man battle if you to achieve it. The application is that it can be applied in very many health behaviors and public health issues, inclusive obesity, tobacco use, and other health disparities. And lastly, the operant behavior scanner, the temporal association between a behavior and an immediately following reward is sufficient to increase the probability that the behavior will repeated operant operate on the environment changes resulting in reward or reinforcement. So operant behaviors are behaviors that act on the environment to produce consequences. Consequences in turn either reinforce or do not reinforce the behavior that is preceded. So operant behavior, which was designed by Skinner, is only showing that there are what we call operational or behaviors that operate. For example, a behavior of consistently doing physical active being physically active, maybe doing morning routine jogging, will act on an individual to possibly reduce on their obesity. But there are also some behaviors such as cutting of tree that will act on the environment. Behavior such as the type of cooking gas or the type of energy that you use that will act on the environment, and vis-a-vis will be able to reinforce a particular behavior, meaning the behavior of either using a specific energy type of energy, so then you're able to live a healthy kind of life because of the less exposure to bad air. And that is what the operant behavior looks at in that discussion. So up to that level, that is the last slide for this lecture. I've tried to move as fast as possible so that we could cover all this before it becomes a boring session and people start to doze off. So up to that far, do we have any questions in regarding what I have presented? Do we have any questions? Any questions?
Thank you, this Somal.
No questions, eh?
Yeah, I think there's no much questions. The presentation was so much comprehensive and clear.
Okay.
Based on those theory.
Okay, that is a good feedback. Any other feedback? It may not be a question. Any feedback on the lecture so that we keep adjusting in the next lectures? Okay, if it's only the feedback from Thomas, thank you. I'm proposing again we have another lecture in the evening tomorrow. Yes, Rose. Rose, go on.
Yeah, mine is not a question, but a request that in the next lecture that we're going to have, I'm suggesting that at least as you're presenting, let your slide match with what you're talking about, because to some point somewhere there as you were lecturing, I was not able to see the slide as you were explaining. So that is my only request.
Okay, that one will be adjusted. Any other feedback? Yes. Any other feedback? Okay. If there is not, as I've suggested, that we shall also have another lecture because I think we need to move faster in the module. So tomorrow we shall be having one in the evening. I hope Samuel will be available for that time. Otherwise, from me to you, have a good weekend and a nice Sunday. Samuel, back to you.